Hi, I'm Gary Harper. I wanted to make this video to go through some of the problems that I've had regarding propane water heaters, and specifically just some of the problems that seem to be a little bit inherent with these heaters. This is not a tutorial of any sort, but just kind of an explanation of some of the things that I've been through, and maybe it'll help some people avoid some of the problems that I've encountered with propane water heaters. I am certified by the National Propane Association to handle Class B size vehicles filled with liquid propane. I do have certification to do large scale filling of those trucks. My background is in chemical lasers. I've handled everything from chlorine to nitrogen tetroxide. And I consider myself probably one of the more experienced people with regards to handling powerful oxidizers and fuels. The lasers I worked on were specifically chemical lasers using hydrogen and deuterium as basically the catalyst gas for use with fluorine and hydrogen fluoride and deuterium fluoride lasers. So I've disabled the comments because there's always someone with something else to say. I really don't need any tutorials on what other people have to say. If you don't like my methods, well, maybe there's no methods. This is the heater that I'm replacing, and you can see that it has had more than its share of a little bit of a problem. Basically, this valve does not want to stay open, even though the thermocouple, which is this guy normally right in here, this thermocouple should allow it to stay on. This is the piezo that fires it up, and it makes contact with a little point right there. I don't know if you can see it from that camera angle, probably not, but it does make this water heater. What kind of clued me into that there was a problem is that this water heater started not being able to start, and of course, you know, the manufacturer is going to tell you, well, you need to flush out where the water is where the heat is transferred to the water. Specifically, this area right in here builds up, you know, calcium and lime deposits, and especially here in northern Thailand, where we have an abundance of chemical salts in the water. That's not the problem here. No matter what, this heater should have fired off by virtue of this flow switch, which is, you can even possibly hear it. Let's see, look. I'll probably get shocked. Yeah. This is a flow switch that when the water is turned on, it basically opens up, and then this valve is somehow digitally told to stay open. That has not been the case. So I dug into it and tried checking out the thermocouple and a few other things, and no matter what, it doesn't want to stay on. I saw one video done by a man who basically defeated this and left this valve wide open. I do not suggest you do that, because you're really asking for a big explosion. Propane is very energetic gas. It has a lot of oomph when it sets off. Now you can see that there's been a problem in here. Maybe it's dust. There's a vent that normally goes on top of this. Obviously you want to make sure you're well vented. But the bottom line is that this particular valve isn't acting correctly. It's probably something in here. But the price of this unit is such that it's easier just to replace the unit. The time you get done figuring out what is wrong with this, you will have spent in your man hours enough to purchase another unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking this unit out and I'm replacing it with a unit that is almost identical. This is the unit that I'm going to replace the damaged unit with. I think out of all the things that I want to say the most about these particular gas heaters is that if it comes from China, they are all identical. You may have noticed that the battery box on the unit that I'm replacing was on the right side. So is this. Switches in generally the same location. There's some sort of pilot light here. I'm not sure what that's for. I'll find out as soon as it explodes, I'm sure. The water inlet, water outlet, and gas inlet are identical. Out of all the heaters that I've looked at, they are all exactly the same components. This one has some sort of arbitrary 2-digit readout, which is supposed to make you feel better that you haven't created enough heat in your water to cook your family or something, but I don't see that it's really that necessary. In any event, this heater is just an interim. I'm going to go with a German company. I won't name any names here. I don't want to imply that I have any favoritism, but the model that I'm looking at is a GI/13. This unit uses 2 D-cell batteries. It's identical to the other one. One thing I will suggest is that if whatever Teflon tape you're going to apply to the fittings where the water and inlet is and the gas if you need it, I suggest you do it before you mount this, because it's going to require that you get that roll of Teflon tape around this guy, and it's going to be a little bit more of a problem when it's in the mounted position vertically. This is your typical Thai Teflon tape, and this company is Fluso. It's about a 1/2 mil thick. It doesn't behave like normal Teflon tape. It just snaps. It doesn't give you that stretch that you do when you're trying to get that nice little, Teflon stick to the fitting effect. You should use you'll usually use 3/4 of a spool for one fitting here in Thailand. And unfortunately, I've run out of my OD Gas yellow tape, and which I brought quite a few rolls to Thailand, and I'm stuck using the other inferior product. I'm sorry, the people at Fluso, but it's just not worth a darn. So in short, the way this works is no matter how proficient you are at wrapping Teflon tape, in Thailand you're going to end up with some piece of crap like this, because they put more effort into saying that they meet some ANSI 9001 standard. They're more concerned about the goddamn sign than they are about the goddamn product. Pardon me, I'm sorry. I've dealt with this shit for close to 10 years now, and I'm here to tell you that if you ever do any construction in Thailand, do not let Thai people do your plumbing, because they know nothing about plumbing. They are good at concrete. They make Americans look like village idiots when it comes to concrete. But boy, I tell you, plumbing, forget it. Well, welcome to Asia. Isn't it a shock that the fitting just keeps turning? There's no such thing as a taper on a fucking fitting here in Thailand. We just run it all the way through. It's a fucking straight thread. Pipe fitting? What's that? My kachai. My fittings from the United States are intolerance. This one that I bought here is not, and nor is the one from China, which proceeded to remove all the Teflon tape. Now, isn't that special? Welcome to Thailand. Well, I'm sure the real pipe fitters out there across America are probably laughing themselves out of their chair about now, but I can assure you that I put every ounce of effort into getting these fittings on correctly. The first thing that was wrong is that while this is typically supposed to be a hose fitting, meaning just kind of a, you know, your dishwasher style hose. The fitting next to it is a halfway tapered pipe thread, so it required a considerable amount of Teflon tape. There's a saying here in Thailand that it's a poor craftsman who blames his tools and materials for the shortcomings in his work. Well, after many years of being here, I've concluded that basically what it really is a matter of Thai manufacturers not wanting to actually come up to speed as far as making their product easy to use and last long. The general consensus here is if it lasts long enough for the contractor to get out the door, that's long enough. That after 30 years in handling toxic chemicals and fluids, that this particular plumbing setup was more than difficult. I've got somebody screeching at me right now. Alana. Mia mi tongue. Pamai mi tongue. Mia mi tongue. I don't know what I'm being wanted for, but I'm wanted for something. I just told the lady that I don't have any money, my wife has the money, which is true. Actually true. After 2.5 pounds of Teflon tape and a little bit of effort, I've managed to get the whole system back together. This is a temporary fix. So it appears, let me plug that back. So it appears that the batteries are installed correctly. It's no small wonder. And I've managed to bleed out all the air through the lines. Hopefully all the air through this guy. So now I'm going to check out the piezo. So the piezo is still active. Okay, there's no gas. So it looks like the piezo stays active for maybe, I don't know, 8 seconds. Let's do a time. About 10 seconds, and then the piezo shuts off. They probably do that with a 555 timer that's potted in that box on this side. So now we're at the point where we want to try putting some gas on it. The wife just came and asked me how it works. My wife has turned off the hot water and she's done drinking beer and eating somtam with her girlfriend, so that's a good sign. That means that I don't have to stand by this thing when we fire it up. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, alright, so I'm going to only stand close enough to burn myself up, but I'm pretty sure we have hot water now. Right, honey? Okay, so we got hot water. This guy's showing 50 degrees C, and like I said, this water heater is only meant as an intermediate. That's it. There you have it, folks. The installation of yet another Chinese-made propane-fired water heater. Like I said, they're all the same. All the guts are the same. So if you think you're getting a better one because you bought the the name brand, and I won't mention the name brand that went south, but I can assure you that every last component in these are identical. All the components in my water metering system are 304 316 stainless. The valve is 1/2-inch stainless 316 food grade with some sort of food grade O-ring in it that provides the seals. I don't recall the material, but you can run your beer through it, so it's good enough to drink through, which you wouldn't drink this water anyway. This water comes from the Chi River, which goes into a pump house, and it's pretty low level station. They do an initial kind of deflocculant treatment with alum. It makes the water taste a little bit like pickling brine, but you wouldn't want to drink it anyway, because there's considerable amount of hard to say. It's kind of a greasy compound that basically, I believe, results from too much organic material. The one thing that is on the upside is that the water in this area does not have any indication of any trihalomethane, which is a really good thing, whereas in the city, probably 7 kilometers away, they have a fairly high trihalomethane count. So we're pretty lucky here because our water is actually cleaner than it is in the city, ironically. So that's the water meter. So making a long story longer, if you're going to buy a propane-fired heater, be prepared for things to go south rather quickly. In my opinion, buy the cheapest one you can get. Chinese-made propane-fired water heater. They're all the same.